President, who has been playing down the coronavirus from the beginning, says this today.
I've always known this is a pandemic. I felt it was a pandemic long before it was called a pandemic.
We're going to go through this because it's important that you should know. It is important that you hold the people who are in charge accountable. It is important to know how we got to this point. That is gaslighting, pure and simple. The President of the United States is gaslighting you, and you deserve to know. Claiming today that he has known all along that the coronavirus is a pandemic. This is way back in January, and I want you to listen to the President's own words in January.
We have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China, and we have it under control. It's going to be just fine.
That was in January. Days later, the CDC announced the first case of person-to-person transmission of the virus in this country. The World Health Organization said the outbreak was officially a public health emergency of international concern. But listen to what the President said in February last month.
We pretty much shut it down, coming in from China. You know, in April, supposedly it dies with the hotter weather.
Looks like by April, you know, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away.
In fact, we're very close to a vaccine. We're going down, not up. We're going very substantially down. We have done an incredible job. We're going to continue. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear.
Right around the time, again, that was February, right around the time the President said all of that, the first passengers on the Diamond Princess cruise ship tested positive for the coronavirus. More than 700 people were eventually confirmed to have the virus. But this may be one of the most outrageous claims this president made about the virus.
One of my people came up to me and said, Mr. President, they tried to beat you on Russia, Russia, Russia. That didn't work out too well. They couldn't do it. They tried the impeachment hoax. That was on a perfect conversation. They tried anything. They tried it over and over. And this is their new hoax.
The coronavirus is no hoax. Ask any of the thousands and thousands of people who are sick right now. And the gaslighting continues. This was 2 weeks ago. The president trying to downplay the mortality rate from the virus.
I think the number, personally, I would say the number is way under 1%.
Tweeting that more Americans die from the flu. There's a tweet up on your screen. Dr. Anthony Fauci, though, telling Sean Hannity the mortality rate is much higher than the president claimed, and pointing out the fact that it is 10 times more deadly than the flu.
The mortality for seasonal flu is 0.1. The mortality for this is about 2.5%. It's probably lower than that. It's probably closer to 1. But even if it's 1, it's 10 times more lethal than the seasonal flu. You got to make sure that people understand that.
They downplayed it for a long time. Some in conservative media still are. For months. Some just started taking it seriously just last week. Just last week. Others have been reporting on it since January. Now, let's not forget the president's visit to the CDC, falsely claiming that anybody who wanted a test could get one. That is still not true. Falsely claiming all the tests were perfect and comparing them to his so-called perfect Ukraine phone call, which was definitely not perfect.
As of right now and yesterday, anybody that needs a test, that's the important thing. And the tests are all perfect.
like the letter was perfect. The transcription was perfect, right? This was not as perfect as that, but pretty good.
Okay? That's videotape in his own words. It was just a week and a half ago that he said he wasn't concerned at all about the coronavirus. That was at a dinner at Mar-a-Lago with the president of Brazil. He really should have been concerned. We have since learned the press secretary for Brazil's president, who was there that night, has tested positive for the virus. That same night, there was a birthday party at Mar-a-Lago for Don Jr.'s girlfriend, Kimberly Guilfoyle, a party attended by the Brazilian press secretary. So you've got to wonder whether that would have happened if the president actually thought the coronavirus was a pandemic, as he claims. Listen to what he said to Republican members of Congress just a week ago.
Just stay calm, and we'll go away.
And let's not forget Sunday, when he claimed we have tremendous control over the virus.
It's incredible, but it's something that we have tremendous control over.
Like I said, this is gaslighting, pure and simple. The President of the United States has been making demonstrably false statements from the beginning of all of this. At a time when real leadership could have saved lives, he caused a lot of people to think that this virus wasn't a serious threat. We now know it is. He suggested that it was less dangerous than the flu. Not true. He claimed it was a hoax by Democrats. Not true. He claimed it was well under control. Not true. He made fun of it at rallies. He went to CPAC. There was a person there who had it. Caused Republican lawmakers and others to have to self-quarantine. They made fun of it. They wore gas masks. Causing all kinds of people to believe that it was a media hoax and not take it seriously. All of that caused a lot of people to think the virus wasn't a serious threat. Caused us to lose a lot of precious time while our government wasn't taking the threat seriously. The sad fact is the president is the one who has been politicizing this. Don't get it twisted. And don't fall for that whole thing about everyone is politicizing this. Don't politicize this, Don. Stop politicizing this. That is why I get so angry, because the president is the one who's politicizing this. And then is trying to do that whole okey doke by blaming the media and saying the media is politicizing it. No, we're just giving you the information. And he doesn't like it, so he's politicizing it. That is dangerous. The latest NPR PBS Marist polls show the partisan divide is growing. 76% of Democrats say coronavirus is a real threat. 50% of independents feel the same way. But only 40% of Republicans agree. Come on, people. I said when we began just a few minutes ago, there were at least 5,838 cases of the coronavirus in this country. Let me tell you what I do. I sit here before the show and I ask my producers, are the coronavirus numbers accurate before I say them? They have to keep updating me until the moment it comes out of my mouth on the show. I can't even print them. And if they print them for me, I have to continue to update them. That is not a hoax. That is not a hoax. It has never been a hoax. So I want you to remember behind every one of those numbers is a real person. One of our friends, one of our family, a loved one, a fellow American. And yes, you should be upset. You should be angry. You should be emotional about it. You should want the people who sit in these seats like me to hold leaders' feet to the fire, and everyone who comes on a program like this to hold their feet to the fire. Don't let them get away with it. People are dying. No doublespeak. No hoax. These are not numbers. These are people. Americans just like the rest of us. And the inconvenience that we're going through right now, not being able to go out to dinner, schools closed, sporting events canceled, houses of worship shut, having to work from home, all of that is changing everyday life in America. The people who are unemployed right now, who are not getting a paycheck, that is not a hoax, people. That is real. Go ask one of them. We have to remember why we're doing this, why we're making these sacrifices. We are doing this for the people who are sick, for the people who are trying to stay healthy, and for the people who are taking care of them. The former President Barack Obama tweeting about that tonight, saying, "We owe a profound debt of gratitude to all our health professionals and everybody who'll be on the front lines of this pandemic for a long while." Obama spotlighting the story of a medical professor, Rachel Patzer, who tweeted that her husband, an emergency department physician, has moved into their garage apartment so he can continue to treat patients while she cares for their 2 young children and a newborn. That is a kind of story this is all about. Remember, we are all in this together.